This is an impromptu morning coffee with just me and all of my hundreds of plants. So this will be a test because I really want to know if the internet reaches out into the garden. So if it starts to get spotty, let me know. If you can't hear me, let me know. Y'all are like my guinea pigs. So good morning and welcome to the Tina Oakley morning garden tour. This is something that I may do. I'm planning on starting a new channel specifically for gardening in the near future. So in theory, I will be doing like a weekly. So let's start with my front porch because I spent so much time out here. And it's really bright this morning, so bear with me. And hi pod, I know y'all are the only ones here. So this is my little front porch. This is where I keep like my tools and my gloves and just like general things that I need on a daily basis to do my gardening. I also have a little like gardening apron because I've been putting a lot of dirt in the dryer by accident. Basically, I just put junk in my pockets all the time and then that ends up in the dryer. So I bought a gardening apron so that would stop happening. This is my little hangout spot in the morning. This is where I usually have coffee. Don't mind the yoga mat because sometimes I do yoga out here. This is where Daisy, the neighbor cat, comes and sits and hangs out with me. So this is like my favorite spot, and this is where I get to look out into my garden. So there's my front yard. I've got y'all on a little stick, so hopefully this will work out okay. I might take it off the stick every once in a while, but the birds are so loud this morning. Holy cow. Okay, so this is like the bulk of the garden. This is where I have most of my cut flowers and my produce. This is specifically flowers and some onions. I don't have like a good rhyme or reason for exactly where everything goes. In future years that'll be a little more organized, but this year it was just like get stuff in the ground, it's ready to grow time, so it was just kind of like a panic and get stuff in the ground. But frankly, I'm super glad that I did it that way because we have so much that's already like ready to harvest, which is just okay. Oh, is the internet being spotty? Okay, let me check. That's what I wanted to do, is like a test to see too far from Wi-Fi. Yeah. Okay. I was wondering. It's kind of on the other side of the house, so give me a thumbs up if everything's fine now, and I'll just stick to this bed here and then maybe go in the back because the Wi-Fi is like in the back, so we can work with that. But I'll start up here, I guess. Better now, that's great. Okay, so this is one of the first tomatoes that I planted right here. He's also strangely one of the smallest, but I do have a tomato. Sorry about the sirens. That's Pensacola for you. Oh, it's so loud. Cool, okay. So he's actually one of the smallest tomatoes, even though he's one of the first tomatoes, and I'll show you his brother that was planted on the same day. But yes, he's in a smaller pot. I don't know if you can see his pot. See his pot? But actually, I think the reason that he is growing slower and smaller is because of the soil. Last year, I wasn't as knowledgeable about soil, so I bought a bunch of kind of crappy soil, and I learned a lot about that. So I would literally have this tomato in this soil and the same tomato in different soil, and the other one's like 2.5 times bigger with 4 times more produce. So it's super interesting. Soil's super important, and maybe that seems obvious, but you would think that soil that you bought from Home Depot or Lowe's, I mean, it has all this advertisement, feeds plants, bigger, better plants, whatever, But the fact is, like, they can write whatever they want on those labels. That doesn't mean you're necessarily getting a good thing, and cheaper is not always better. So this year, I specifically went to Pensacola Seed and Garden, which is a local gardening store, and they have their own blend that's super high quality dirt. That's what pretty much all of my beds here are, with a mix of mushroom compost, and oh my gosh, the difference. It's insane and very important. So a lot of money starting up front. One of their big bags is like $22, and I know that's super expensive, but you're actually gonna get produce and you're gonna get way more. So therefore you're gonna save money in the future. So yeah, this tomato right here is called a morning brain. I have barely had coffee, give me a second. Hungarian heart tomato. So they actually are kind of heart-shaped tomatoes. You can see it more when they're just little babies. They're starting to round out a little bit, but they're a little more heart-shaped than most tomatoes, which I think is kind of cool. I don't want to go too far away, so let's go to my little mint and herb garden, which is really just this area over here. So this has been really fun, and I wish you guys could smell it. Oh, I can barely see, it's so bright, sorry. But I have all these different kinds of mints. My friend Stephanie, I've had 3 different kinds of mints before, but she was really into like every kind of mint and introduced me to all of these different kinds of mints. So this one's called banana mint. And the cool thing is they all look so different, but even more so, they smell and taste really different. This one's called apple mint. It's super fuzzy. This one's probably my favorite. It's called pineapple mint. This I bought, it was tiny, and it has just multiplied. And that's something about mint, it really does just take over. But the summers are kind of harsh here, so I will probably move these into more shady spots once the summer hits. But this is super fuzzy and seriously smells like pineapple, but I just love that it's variegated. This is a French lavender. I just pulled off the 2 flowers that were growing on there yesterday to dry those out a little bit. And then I have basil. Sorry, I'm trying to work with this. So I just want to stay close to the house so you guys can actually hear and see and everything. So that is basil right there. The purple I bought from a store, but the green I planted myself. And it's doing great. So in this area, not a lot of this I started from seed. That's chamomile I started from seed. And behind there is lemon mint, which I started from seed, and then the basil. But as you'll see, let's see how close I can get. The basil, I'm gonna teach you guys some stuff today. All right, the basil right here, you see these right here? So it's starting to flower, which changes the flavor, and it means it's gonna kind of stop growing. So generally speaking, especially with basil and mint, they like to be snipped off down here. So right here, as you can see, there's like, well, maybe you can see, maybe you can't. There's like 2 sets of leaves down here. So I'll actually take a clippers, I'll go grab one in a minute, and cut it right here. And then it's gonna branch out and just keep growing, like right here. This didn't used to be 2 branches, but I cut it here and then it shot out these other branches. So basil and mint are really interesting in that they kind of like to be chopped down and like hurt a little bit, and they just thrive if you do that. So I'm definitely going to chop these down later, and I'm going to dry the basil, and that's kind of what I've been doing this week, is taking in the mint and the basil and the lavender and drying it. Oh, I have rosemary too. This is rosemary. God, I wish you guys could smell this stuff. It's so rewarding and so fun. But yeah, so I specifically this year want to grow more of my own herbs that I can use. I make a lot of tea, I take a lot of baths, so like throwing any of this stuff in there is great. And then this purple basil I actually use in flower arrangements because it lasts a really long time. It smells really potent, and oh, and it's really pretty. I was like, what was my last point? Yeah, so that's my little herb garden. I also have a pot full of strawberries right here. And I have, oh my gosh, I think since last year, a year ago, I started with maybe 10 strawberry plants, and I probably have 30 to 40 now. They really like to reproduce, but I don't have enough that I have strawberries every day, or like I don't have enough that I always have like a bushel, but I do get to eat like a strawberry or two pretty much every day, which is really cool. Makes me pretty happy. So just a little note, if you guys don't know, we have a little over a quarter acre here in Pensacola. It's not a ton of space, but we specifically bought this house because it had a lot of land for being in town with full sun. So this whole front yard, except like literally there and over, is full sun from 5 or 6 a.m. until I want to say 2:30 or so. This is starting to get more shaded as the sun moves, but this giant tree behind me, it's really big, and so it casts a lot of shade on this part of the garden now after 3 o'clock or so. But for Pensacola, it's really hot here in the summer, so the big perk there is that it will be shaded for some of the hottest parts of the day, and I'm hoping that that will actually give me a little bit longer growing season. The weird thing about Florida really is that, you know, we have this massive growing season if you can keep stuff alive in the summer. The winter's really not a problem if you're willing to cover stuff here and there, but the summer is when things die. It's just too hot, and if you don't have shade cover during that like 2 to 4, I think is probably like the hottest part of the day here, a lot of stuff will just die because it just can't handle it. But fun fact, when we were on tour last year, I had sprinklers set up in the yard while we were gone, and I overwintered 2 jalapenos, 2 bell peppers, a handful of other hot peppers, 2 eggplants, and I thought I overwintered a tomato, but I don't think I did. What overwintered means is just that I was able to keep them alive all throughout the winter months, and they came back and they're already producing again this year. So it just means I have over a year-old plant, which can be a huge advantage because they are a lot less susceptible to damage now. And I will show you what I'm talking about right now after I cheers you all for being here. Thank you for sharing your morning with me in my garden. This has really been a very bright part in my life the last couple of months. I mean, and the last year, I really just do love it. But it's so refreshing to come out and just be in nature and observe, and a lot of this stuff I started from seeds, so just understanding like the progression and the science of plants, it's absolutely incredible. The more I learn, the more I'm just like blown away by nature, and just feeling connected in that way has been really rewarding and kind of like therapeutic. Just kind of takes you out of your day-to-day stuff when I'm dealing with crappy customers or you know, just having to manage a lot of stuff. It's nice to like go back and be like, this is what it used to be. This is all we used to do, is like make sure that we were fed and taken care of and had shelter. And so it kind of like brings back the simplicity that I seem to have lost, that I think a lot of people lose. We get really wrapped up in what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. It's really easy to forget like where we came from and what's really important, which is survival, right? So food, trying to be healthy. My body has been betraying me lately, so putting at least good food in my body has helped my mentality and also like fixing some of my inflammation issues. So, okay, sorry, cheers. Good morning, cheers. Thank you again for being here. You guys are amazing. I can barely see the screen because it's bright out, but I see we had a $5 donation at some point, so thank you. I have no idea who that was from. If it was you, I really appreciate you, and I'm sorry that I didn't cheers you when I saw it because I didn't see it. It is so sunny out here, so I'm gonna have to get like a shade tent for my camera so that I can actually read the comments and stuff. I can see them coming in a little bit. I saw a bunch of cheers and good morning, so I appreciate that. And because we love our coffee, this is Birdie Fuel Wanderlust. It's James Conrad and Jordan Kim's blend. I love it. I've been drinking this all week and it's so tasty. So if you haven't gotten some Birdie Fuel, either check out ours, Road Trip, or this one's fantastic. It tastes like a medium blend. I can't say for sure that that's what it is, but I think it is. Okay, moving on, I'm going to show you my pepper plants that survived the winter, and then I'm going to show you the contrast from one that's brand new because it is incredibly different. And just keep me in the loop if you can hear me or not, because I'm getting a little further away from the house and I will do my best to make sure that we're staying within Wi-Fi range. All right. I'm gonna take this off and bring you down here with me. Okay. Hi. All right, so, sorry. I don't have hotspot on my phone anymore, unfortunately. Let me think about this because I really want to show you guys these plants, but how can I? Yeah, and Eric has our mobile hotspot. That's like super high quality, but it's expensive. All right, well, how can I show you this without having to be out there? I guess I could start with these. These are not a year old, but it's a good example. These are kind of woody, right? These are also bell peppers. And they're kind of like that woody, thick. And these are fairly new ones. So these I've had over the winter, but I've had them for since September, I think. I've got a bunch of bugs on this lettuce, so I'm just gonna pull it out. Fun fact, lettuce does not like the summers in Pensacola. So I just murdered a bunch of bugs, sorry guys. Anyways, yeah, so these came back with me from North Carolina when we were, I was coming down here to clean up after the hurricane. And I knew that a bunch of my plants had probably died, so I bought plants from a greenhouse in North Carolina and brought them down here knowing that I wanted to start growing food right away, but worried that the plants here were going to be destroyed, and they kind of were. A lot of the plants in Pensacola were not very happy from the hurricane. So, let me stick my phone in here. You see these? These are pretty big actually. There you go, you can kind of tell how big they are. Couple inches. So those are bell peppers, and these plants are strange because they didn't grow new growth except for leaves and flowers and peppers, right? So they didn't grow like a new stem. This is the old stem from last year. They just started to grow things out of its current stem, and therefore they're really short, and these peppers are like growing really close to the ground, which is really bizarre, but that's okay. All right, I'm gonna take you guys to the park with me. Hopefully I will stay connected to the internet. But that side is closer to the house and closer to where the Wi-Fi signal is, so hopefully we will be okay. And I will just show you my little plant line on the way back. If I'm still here, this tomato plant is the one I was talking about. Actually, it's a different, but they were planted at the same time from the same seed company. This is 3 with bad soil. So I'll flip this around so you can see my backyard. Plant. This is where I do yoga. And then here's some peppers I started from seed this year. They're doing really good. All right, we should be right by the Wi-Fi, so shouldn't be much of an issue. I don't have as much back here, but it's a little more landscaped, if you will. So yeah, so this is my little yoga spot. It's actually covering up some like pumps and stuff under there for irrigation, I believe. But so I just decided I'd plant around it, and I will get like a workout mat to go over this whole thing. And now I've got flowers. Those are all zinnias coming in, and then like some edibles too. These are actually edible flowers. It's called nasturtium, I think. So they will make little flowers that you can eat. I didn't bring my tripod back here. Maybe I should. All right, BRB. Enjoy the sound of the birds. Okay, I'm back. So, here's a pretty rose. It's kind of hard to tell with the lighting, but it actually used to be crazy looking. And that's kind of like the fun thing about roses, is that they change colors and shapes as they grow, as they age, I guess, not grow necessarily. So here's our backyard veteran basket, right in the middle of everything. I have some peppers down here, some echinacea, more peppers, some snapdragons. And then this is kind of where I've been putting a lot of effort in lately. So, let me pop this up. Okay, so we have this like retaining wall here, and it was just overgrown with weeds, of course, when we moved in. So basically I've been trying to just cut out a little lane behind the retaining wall. Sorry, I'm still waking up. So yeah, I started with some tomatoes because I had way too many tomatoes that I started. Those I started in December here. So as you can see, they're pretty massive, especially if you have, like, I'm in these gardening groups, and people all over the country obviously are growing food right now. And we're like so far ahead of that just because we were able to start so early. It hasn't frozen here since February, so we've had a lot of time for everything to grow. So these all have tomatoes on it except one plant which isn't doing super well. I think a cat peed on it, that's my guess. Not my cats. There's cats that live back there and they come in my yard because we're a bathroom apparently. Yeah, so that's been kind of a work in progress. And over here I have cilantro strawberries and some other bee balm, lemon bee balm. And then over here, let me bring you down here. These are cucumbers and peas. And these are squashes that are probably planted too close together, but I'm just gonna roll with it. And then my pretty flowers. Ooh, I have another fun fact to share with you guys. This is phlox, and these are dahlias. One of them, it just ended. Oh my goodness, you guys, this is beautiful. Oh, I'm so glad I get to share this with you. Look at these. Can you see them? All right. Coming off again. Look at these. They're massive. So this is called a morning glory vine. They're incredible. I'm so excited. You can get different colors, but this blue is just so vibrant. And this vine, I don't know if you can tell, but it's a very small vine. And then it has these massive flowers. They're supposed to get bigger, but this ended up being more shaded because that's a fig tree and it kind of got in the way. But that's okay. Yeah, and then I have peas on the other side. So, you ready for these peas? There's some peas. I actually sat right here yesterday and ate a bunch of peas off this plant, so there aren't many left, but that's what the flowers look like right here. And then this is a different kind of pea plant. These are called snow peas. These are called dwarf peas, but they have these colorful flowers. Sorry if I'm moving too much. These are these purple, dark purple flowers. And I actually have sweet peas in the front that are intentionally grown for their flowers, not the peas themselves. You can, I believe, let them flower and they will give you peas, but my whole point is to cut them off, bring them in, and have vased flowers. And then this is something I'm super excited about. You can tell they're already pretty tall. These I started from seed as well. I guess everything I've shown you in the last like 5 minutes, I've started from seed. But these specifically are called Hollyhocks. They will get super tall and they'll bloom all the way up with they're like spikes of flowers, and they'll get really, really tall. Like taller than the tallest person you know. Calvin Heimberg, taller than Calvin. Eric and I went to Door County, Wisconsin last year for my birthday, and they have these everywhere. They're just all over the place. All these different colors, and I thought like maybe we couldn't grow them here because that's such a different climate, but here we are. And it looks like, those to me look like they're gonna start flowering, but in theory each one of these, can you see that, is gonna be a new flower. So those are really exciting for me just because they're gonna be epic, and the fact that they started as this tiny little seed and now they're this massive plant is super cool. Okay, so I will end after I give you these little fun facts that I'm about to give you. Something that I've planted this year and I haven't done it in the past, but I'm excited about it. And then I have a chiropractor appointment pretty soon, and I don't know what time it is, so. Okay, wow. Look at me, I'm on top of stuff. Okay, so this is what I want to show you. These right here are pepper plants. Yes, I have a lot of pepper plants. Why are these so cool? Well, let me tell you. These, I call them candy striped peppers. They're yellow, they're red, orange, and yellow striped peppers. I bought them at a grocery store in the organic section, and they're red bell peppers. The reason that's important is that green bell peppers do not have mature seeds most of the time. I took these from my grocery store pepper, I dried them, I planted them, and they all germinated. All of them. 100% germination rate, which is crazy for starters, but also really exciting. The thing is, I might not get these striped peppers from these seeds. The way that the genetics of plants work, cross-pollination, and like hybrid plants, essentially just that one seed that planted or that gave you those peppers are the only ones that would necessarily be those crazy colors that you first got. Once they have babies, those might not give you the same colored peppers. In theory, they will still give me awesome peppers. We just don't know if they're going to be striped or not. They might be, and it was a free, I mean, the seeds are free, right? I have hundreds of them. Wes, every morning. Good morning, thank you so much. And I'm glad you're a fan of the peas. I'm really excited about peas. That's something I will just sit and eat off the plant. Well, carrots, I do that too. I'll just pull them out and eat them. Ugh. Good morning and cheers, Wes. Thank you so much. As always, we really appreciate it. So yeah, I guess the moral of my long story, there's a lot of science that goes into why seeds will and won't do what you think they're going to do. The reason I said it's specifically important that it's a red bell pepper is that green peppers will turn red. That's how you know that they're mature. A lot of places pull the green bell peppers to eat them, right? Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but at the grocery store, green bell peppers tend to be cheaper than reds or oranges or yellows, and that's because they take less time to make. They go green first, then they go red, then orange, then yellow, I believe. And then the sugar content actually is higher too. Fun plant facts. But essentially, green bell peppers, the seeds inside of them have not yet matured and therefore, generally speaking, will not germinate or definitely won't germinate as well. So this being a red bell pepper, I felt confident that they would probably come up, and boom, they all did. I saved a bunch of other ones from the same peppers. So because I have this space, it was easy to experiment, but feel free to do that yourself. There's a lot of different plants that you can actually take the seeds out of and try to start them. Some I would say are worth it because with these I will get results in just a couple months. Some things like avocados or lemons or basically any fruit-bearing trees, those are going to take years before you actually get fruit off of them. So it might not be as worth it to test that out. One of the garden YouTubers that I watch specifically mentioned, he's like, well, you know, you could spend 10 years of your life trying to get like a lemon from a lemon tree that you started, and that's really cool and empowering. But if you really want lemons, like, you are much better off spending the $35 on a lemon tree one time that is already going to give you lemons this year or next year. So I've kind of embraced that. As cool as it is to start your own stuff and have your own food growing, do I really have 10 years? And what am I going to be doing 8 years from now, you know? So why did you dry the pepper seeds before letting it grow? Research. I don't know if I actually had to or have to, but from what I've read and the research that I've done on starting seeds, it is better to let them dry out first. What's interesting, and this could be the science behind it, but I'm not going to claim that I know that, a lot of seeds, some seeds will not grow good here because it's so warm and they don't get cold or freeze. So this might be related, a similar kind of thing. There are some seeds here that we literally put in our freezer or our refrigerator for like 6 weeks to imitate a winter. I think that's really interesting. They won't grow if they don't have that hibernation period. So when it comes to the dryness of it, maybe it needs to mimic falling off the plant, drying out before it can start again. That's just a guess. I'm actually not sure. But I figured I'd try it out with these. Yeah, and this year it would be really cool, and I'm not sure how this year's gonna go, but I've been trying to collect my seeds so that I can plant all these next year. Essentially, I should never have to buy seeds again unless it's a new variety that I don't have. So I'm trying to let some stuff go to seed so that I can collect them. And then I think it'd be really, really cool, maybe with whale sack stuff, if I could like send seeds out with my orders so that people can have their own pepper plant that I grew here, you know? I think that'd be really, really cool, but we'll see what happens. I've got all these crazy, silly ideas that are very unrelated, but I still think it would be awesome. Okay, well, my hip's been acting up like crazy. I have some nasty back pain that I've been dealing with for, I think, about 2 months now. So I have to go to a chiropractor appointment, and he's gonna fix me up, and I'm gonna feel so much better. And I really appreciate you guys spending your morning with me. And please don't forget, I know we did a live this morning, but Eric and hopefully Chris Clements will be export Tina's peppers. Hopefully Eric will be with us for morning coffee tomorrow. He will be. Hopefully Chris also will be, since we kind of missed out on them last week. So make sure you tune in at 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow morning for our actual morning coffee. And we also have a new video dropping. We did a 9-hole bite challenge with Gabe, our team manager for DD. So yeah, and Ryan Newton, we decided we're gonna do a new segment, basically where we deep dive into somebody's old Facebook pictures. So I'm not sure what we're gonna call that segment, but it'll be really fun and I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed this. Please go comment on this once I finish it and let me know if you would like to see more of this kind of garden tour stuff. I've had requests before, but I know not everybody's into plants like me, and I'm obsessed, and I hope you learned something today, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!